This session, lawmakers filed nearly 50 bills either sparked by or following our team's investigations. The legislation covered a wide range of topics from schools and healthcare to criminal justice and even constitutional law. We've had a lot to track this session, and we've covered every step of the process to keep you informed. 2 bills related to the state's do not hire registries made it to the governor. He's already signed SB 1437 into law, allowing the Texas Juvenile Justice Department to designate former employees or volunteers permanently ineligible for certification if they engage in conduct that threatens juvenile safety. The other he's expected to sign is SB 571, which expands the Texas Education Agency's authority to investigate volunteers and third-party contractors who work on school campuses and are accused of misconduct. Part of SB 1, the budget bill sent to the governor, includes a change to the state's crime victim compensation fund. We told you about the issue in our Held Up investigation. The fund pays victims and their loved ones for recovery costs and other things like funeral expenses. It requires the Attorney General's office, which manages the fund, to give a more accurate picture of how quickly victims are paid. Our investigation discovered a flawed data formula was showing a much shorter wait time, which was actually, on average, up to 8 months for a payment. The new law aims to have that happen in under 90 days. Another bill signed by the governor that will impact the Attorney General's office is SB 1403, dealing with the agency's child support division. It allows the AG to speed up procedures to cut down on unnecessary delays in delivering child support payments. The agency will now be able to get information directly to families at courthouses and on the AG's website. And a measure pushing Botox patient safety and transparency won't become law because Governor Abbott vetoed the legislation. Senate Bill 378 aimed to prohibit barbers, cosmetologists, and estheticians from administering Botox and other injectables unless they were licensed or authorized to give the shots. It would have also given the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation more disciplinary authority over those professionals. In his veto, Governor Abbott called the measure unnecessary and overly burdensome for businesses in Texas. Another bill sparked by our reporting would have expanded the use of medical examiners for death investigations in more counties across Texas. It came after we revealed most counties don't have medical examiners, doctors trained for that very purpose, and instead rely on elected justices of the peace who have little expertise in this area. SB 1370 died, along with many other bills, at a midnight House deadline last week, just one step from the governor's desk. But its sponsor tells us he plans to call for an interim charge to study how to attract more doctors with this expertise to fill the growing need in Texas ahead of the next session. Also looking ahead to the next session, the author of House Bill 1738 says he plans to refile his legislation to repeal the state's unconstitutional ban on homosexual conduct. We covered the issue in our Outlaw investigation. Our analysis shows since the 1980s, there have been at least 60 attempts to do just that. Most came since the U.S. Supreme Court's 2003 ruling struck down the law as unenforceable. HB 1738, which was filed after our Outlaw investigation, made it further in the legislative process than any of those past bills. Critics say leaving the old law on the books allows for misinterpretation by police and policymakers. You can find more details on the impact our investigative team made at the Capitol this session online. Just look for the links in this week's State of Texas story on this station's website. The last day of the session brought a surprise announcement from one of the most conservative members in the Texas House.
Texas is in good hands with each of you, and it's time for me to step aside.
Arlington Republican Tony Tinderholt announced his retirement after 6 terms in the legislature. Conservative members stood beside him as he read his farewell speech from the front mic.
I hope you recognize that each of the decisions you make will affect me and my family when I'm gone. My prayer is that this chamber recognizes all that Texas needs from you and that you never take for granted the immense honor and responsibility that comes with serving in the Texas House.
Tinderholt is known for pushing conservative legislation, but lawmakers from both sides of the aisle spoke kindly about his integrity and influence in the chamber. The day after his farewell speech, Tinderholt said he will run for Tarrant County Commissioner. He said it would allow him to continue public service while being home with his family. Houston Democrat Yolanda Jones had a big campaign announcement of her own. She's running for Congress. Jones has served 2 sessions in the Texas House. Before that, she served on the Houston City Council. She will join several other candidates in the special election for District 18. That's the seat left open when Congressman Sylvester Turner died in March. Election Day is November 5th. Sometimes it's personal at the Capitol. We'll hear from 2 new Texas lawmakers and how their experiences led to new laws that hit close to home.